What is up, guys? Luke Deutschlander here with another video. If you guys like my videos, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below, and let's jump into today's video. So I know a while back, guys, I did do a video on basically buying iPhones for newbies or beginners, and things have kind of changed a little bit, so I wanted to start another video here and just talk about buying smartphones and kind of a checklist here that I've made up for 2019. So let's jump right into it, guys. I know there's a lot of newer people getting into this industry, people flipping phones, people who have not ever bought or resold a phone before, whether you're new or young, experienced. This checklist is kind of a good thing to go by no matter how long you've been in the industry or if you're just brand new to it. So let's jump right into the guide here, guys. So it's super simple, and I'm going to kind of go through each step here. So smartphone checklist 2019 is what I got here for you guys. The first thing obviously you're going to want to do is the IMEI check on the phone. So checking the IMEI on the phone, guys, is really, really important. If you guys don't check the IMEI out, you could run into a lot of potential problems, especially when listing the phone on eBay. So the first website that I've got listed here is called Checkmend. Now, Checkmend, guys, is a paid IMEI check-in website. It is not a free IMEI check-in website. Like, there's a lot of free info out there and a lot of free websites, but let me tell you guys something. You get what you pay for. And a lot of these IMEI websites out there that basically are free sites, a lot of them actually pull their data from other sites, where some of the sites that are paid actually have their own internal process, and so they're a lot more accurate than some of these other sites that basically are free because they're not generating any revenue, and so a lot of the times they don't update their software or whatever it is, the protocol or algorithms on their website, and how they find out if these IMEIs are clean or not compared to some of the paid websites. So that being said, guys, Checkmend, guys, I believe it's $1 a piece to actually check the IMEI on a phone. It sounds like a lot, but really it's not. I mean, it's only $1, guys. It's kind of like offering free shipping on your listing. The reason why I recommend Checkmend so much is because Checkmend will actually print you off an IMEI report of the phone and blank out the IMEI, and you can actually post this on your eBay listings. Checkmend, hands down, is the #1 IMEI check-in website. And the reason why I say that is when you have a buyer that claims that your phone isn't paid off or claims that there's something wrong with it, finance status-wise or blacklist status-wise, if you have a clean Checkmend report posted in one of your eBay pictures, when your eBay phone case actually goes to an escalations manager, what they actually use on eBay is Checkmend. So Checkmend, guys, if you guys have that and Checkmend says that the phone is clean, clear, and it identifies the carrier and the gigabyte size and all that, hands down, eBay will side with you if you have that Checkmend report, especially if it's posted in your eBay photos. This is a huge thing. Not a lot of people know about this, and I'm not sure why more people don't use Checkmend and post it in their eBay photos, but it's something that I personally do. I have 2 eBay stores, and let me tell you, I've had a lot of scammers that try and get me and say, oh, the phone is financed, or oh, the phone wasn't the right gigabyte size. And then I have the Checkmend report to back it up, and when it gets escalated into the PayPal, or not the PayPal, but the eBay, disputes team and all that, and they have the escalations manager, it goes above and beyond after you try and fight the return. Well, I always win the returns because of the fact that Checkmend is basically never wrong. At least it hasn't been in my case, and it's the eBay standard. eBay is, a multi-million dollar company, so obviously they're going to be using the best IMEI checker possible. The only drawback to it is, guys, is it is $1 an IMEI check, but I really think that it's worth it. So make sure you guys go check them out. Checkmend.com is what I check my IMEIs with most of the time when I'm listing on eBay. Now, the second one I've got on the list, guys, and these are kind of listed basically from best to worst, and all of these IMEI checkers on my list are actually pretty decent, but these are basically, in my experience and just from what I've done in research, these are the best basically from top to bottom. So the second one I got on the list, guys, is sickw.com. Sickw.com does have some free services. However, the good ones, or the ones that you should be using, are paid. Typically, what you guys are going to want to do on sickw.com is you're going to want to open an account, and then what they do is they actually use credit. So you'll purchase, say, $50 worth of credits, which gets you $50 in-store credit on sickw.com, and each one of the services costs like anywhere between 10 cents and $2. You can run GSX checks, which pretty much tells you everything about the phone. The most common one that I use specifically in iPhones and Samsungs runs about 8 to 10 cents, and what you do on sickw.com is you'll get your account started, and you'll go to enter in the IMEI, and then you'll see a drop-down menu, and it'll say Apple Basic Info. That one's about a 10-cent check, and what that'll do is it'll tell you the IMEI, it'll tell you the carrier, and it'll tell you if the phone is locked or unlocked. And by locked or unlocked, what that means is if it's locked, it means that the phone is probably not paid off and it's still locked to the carrier, or it's paid off, but it's just a phone that hasn't been manually unlocked yet. And if it does say that it's SIM unlocked, you can sell the phone as SIM unlocked. So SickW, guys, really simple to use. It's also really affordable. It is cheaper than Checkmend, basically all around, I would say. However, Checkmen, like I said, industry standard in my opinion. IMEIPro.info, kind of the same thing. It'll just tell you, variables about the phone. It will tell you if it's clean, blacklisted, etc. It's a free IMEI checker, and that's why I've got it on the list. So just kind of wanted to point that out there if you guys don't want to pay for stuff right away. What I recommend actually, guys, if you are going to use some of the free IMEI checkers, is that you actually should run the IMEI on 2 different free IMEI checkers, just because of the fact that the free ones, guys, I just don't really trust them as much as I do on the paid IMEI checkers. And then another one that I got down here, guys, is IMEI.info. That's another popular one, kind of does the same thing. Another one that you guys can use for free checking is swappa.com. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have heard of that, but if you do just want to run the free IMEIs, guys, I typically recommend running them on IMEI Pro, IMEI Info, and then Swappa, and kind of go off of the 3. If one of them is way off from the other ones, then there might be something up with the phone, and then you might want to run a paid check. And I know this kind of sounds detailed and kind of complicated, but guys, it's really important when you guys are running your checks that you have accurate information. And the reason being, guys, is customers don't always accurately describe the smartphones to you. There's a lot of times that the customers are either confused on what they have, or they just describe the item in a way in which is not true. So it's just kind of something you guys want to watch out for. Another one that we got on the list, guys, is check the carrier and the phone company. Now, this one is huge, guys, because of the fact that the customer is not always honest. I don't know if it's just them being honest or dishonest, but it's either that or basically the customer just doesn't know what phone company it is because they purchased the phone secondhand and maybe it didn't work out for them and that's why they're selling it. One of the best ways to check which phone company the phone is for if you have an iPhone is to actually call Apple. Typically, if you call Apple and basically you just got to Google Apple's number, just Google 1-800 or Apple support, you can typically call Apple and actually read them the IMEI and they'll tell you which carrier the phone is for. And then another good way, guys, let's say you think that it's an AT&T phone. If you go to AT&T.com or Google AT&T unlocked device, you can typically go to AT&T unlocked device, enter the IMEI, and if the phone is not for AT&T, basically you'll get like an invalid request. If it is for AT&T and it's not paid for, it'll say that this device is still under financial obligations or something similar to that message, guys. And then if the phone is free, clear, and paid for, it'll probably say that it'll take 2 days to process your unlock request and we'll let you know, which basically means, yeah, your device is going to get unlocked. So if you guys get a T-Mobile phone or a Verizon phone, etc., you're going to want to kind of do the same thing that I just said. Just basically try and go to the carrier website that the phone was presented to you as. Like if the customer says it's for Verizon, we'll go to the Verizon website then and check it out. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind because customers are not always accurate, and that's huge. If you guys list a phone online and it's not actually for the carrier that the customer said, that's a huge thing, guys, and that can cause you to get a return and bad feedback on eBay. Same thing if you're selling to direct buyers, you need to know whether the phone is for GSM or CDMA, etc., locked or unlocked. So this is all really important stuff, guys. And it'll prevent you guys from overpaying for a phone also. Now, another way you guys can check for the carrier on a phone is typically if you go under phone, general, and then under settings, and then like about phone, and I'm not sure exactly without looking at the phone on hand, but this is typically what the stuff is called. Like I said, general, about phone, and then, basically you're going to see a drop-down menu of settings. If you go and scroll down towards the settings on the phone where you'll see gigabytes and stuff like that, typically actually the phone will say which carrier it was last used on. Now typically this only describes what SIM card was last put in the phone. So that is kind of a drawback, but typically regular consumers are not trying to scam you and they don't even know about this, so they're not going to sit there and try and switch out 100 different SIM cards. So that's one way to check. Another way to check is to actually physically pop the SIM card out and see what's in there. And then the final and foolproof way is to have the phone connected to Wi-Fi, reset the phone, and actually bring with you 4 different carrier SIM cards. So bring with you a Verizon SIM card, a T-Mobile SIM card, an AT&T card, and a Sprint card. If you bring these 4 carrier dummy SIM cards with you and you try and activate the phone on one of the carriers and it doesn't work, that number 1 tells you the phone is probably not unlocked. 2, if it won't activate on any of them, that means that the phone is probably blacklisted. And then 3, if you do get the phone, say, to activate on the AT&T SIM card, well, it's probably an AT&T phone or it's a GSM phone. So that can kind of help you determine that too. And, worst comes to worst, guys, if you did get a phone and let's just say you just can't, for the love of God, you figure out what carrier the phone is for, what phone company it's for, you can always listen on eBay and just basically say that the phone company is unknown and kind of put your notes in the description, guys, kind of telling, you know, the potential buyer on basically, you know, what you tried and that you're not sure. Sometimes people on eBay, guys, will actually reach out to you and try and help you troubleshoot stuff if you're newer and you can't figure it out. Most of the times, guys, if you use everything that I just told you so far in this video, you will be able to figure it out. So that being said, guys, that kind of covers the basics on figuring out about the IMEI, you know, the gigabyte size, the phone company, all the kind of important stuff. And like I said, Checkmend, guys, Checkmend, industry standard. If you use that on eBay and you don't ever want to get your eBay account banned, I highly recommend using Checkmend. Scrolling down here, guys, now the next thing is the make and model. Obviously, that's kind of an obvious one. You want to make sure the customer is accurately describing what you're going to be buying, because I have had customers tell me it's an iPhone 8, and then when I get there in person, the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 7 look really similar, and it turns out it's actually an iPhone 7. And the reason why is because they look so similar. But if you look on the back, if you flip the phone over between an iPhone 8 and an iPhone 7, you'll see that they each have different model numbers. Now on the iPhone, guys, the model number is always on the bottom of the phone. For Samsung phones, I'd say they're a little bit more obvious to tell the difference. So personally, it hasn't happened on Samsungs, but same thing with the Samsung, guys. Just make sure you guys turn the phone on, open the settings, and, you know, make sure everything's accurate. Also on most Samsung Galaxy phones, you know, it'll say Galaxy S6 on the back or Samsung Galaxy S7. So just make sure, guys, that the make and model is the exact model that you're appraising, and make sure the gigabyte size, if the phone is operatable, like you can power it on, make sure you guys go under settings and check out the gigabyte size, because you guys don't want to be overpricing something, you know, and then you're getting a model or like an iPhone downgrade from what you appraised. That can lose you a ton of money. So just be careful of that, guys. The next thing, guys, on this list that we're kind of looking at is the condition of the iPhone. So a lot of times you guys will show up and meet a customer, and sometimes their perfect condition or it's in great condition is more like, you know, okay or so-so condition. So just make sure, guys, when you're meeting a customer, make sure that the condition is as described or what you appraised. You know, if you meet with a customer and you see that there's a crack in the phone, well, although it's kind of frustrating sometimes, you got to call the customer on their mistake, and you got to tell them, hey, you didn't tell me that there was a small crack in the screen, or you didn't tell me that the camera had a, you know, chip missing out of the back, or, you know, there's a big deep scratch in the back of the phone. You guys have to call that stuff. I know it kind of puts you in an awkward position, but you guys have to do that, whether it puts you in an awkward position or not, and make sure that you guys get the phone for a lower price at that point. And oftentimes the customer, if you come off as a nice, assertive, be nice, but be assertive, and just basically say, hey, I have to get the phone at a lower price because of the fact that, you know, the phone is not as you described it to me, and it was kind of a ballpark number over the phone. Just say it to them like that, guys, and oftentimes the customer will be okay and they'll accept your lower offer. I know it kind of puts you guys in an awkward spot, but you guys have to do it. The next thing, guys, that's huge is iCloud, Samsung accounts, Google accounts, and then Touch ID. So make sure, guys, just make sure you guys are meeting people in locations that have Wi-Fi, because if you guys don't have a phone that's connected to, you know, 3G or 4G or Wi-Fi, you will not be able to successfully log out of iCloud or these other accounts because it won't authenticate with the server online. So make sure, guys, whatever you do, make sure you guys check the iPhones. Make sure you go under settings and make sure there's no iCloud in the top. It'll say somebody's name or email. Make sure that's blank or it says sign in. Same thing with Samsung accounts, guys. Make sure you guys go under the Samsung settings and then about, and then go into accounts or privacy. You guys will kind of be able to navigate around and just make sure you guys are all logged out of these. Also, if the customer doesn't know any of these account passwords, chances are the phone is probably stolen, and so you probably shouldn't buy it. Why I have Touch ID in here, and it's kind of a tricky thing, is I have had people who have went out and tried to buy phones and they get all the passwords cleared off, but they forget about the screen lock password or the Touch ID password. Now, you guys can reset phones that have screen locks on them, but if it's a Touch ID, typically you cannot reset it because the Touch ID is higher up than a just regular screen lock password, and that usually means you might have even forgot the iCloud on it. So just be careful of that, guys. Touch ID is pretty bad also, so you guys don't want to be buying phones that have passwords on them, period. So just make sure they're all cleared off before, you know, you give the customer your money. The other thing, guys, is cameras. Make sure when you guys are going to pick up a phone, make sure you guys test the rear camera and then flip the camera around with the button, and make sure you guys use the frontal facing camera also and take a photo of each and then go into the camera gallery and make sure that both photos are very clear. And then another thing that you guys are going to want to do with the camera is you're going to want to take a quick video with the rear camera and a quick video with the front camera. And the reason that you do that, guys, is you want to make sure that there's, just nothing wrong. There's no lag in the video. There's nothing, odd going on with the camera eye. The next thing on our checklist, guys, is the sound check input and output. Now, when I say input and output, this means that you need to make sure that the microphone works and also the earpiece works. So what you want to do is you want to shoot like a 4-second test video and just say testing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hit playback on that video and make sure that, your voice in the video sounds clean and clear. So that way you know that the input microphone works and that the earpiece also works because it's playing volume out. The last thing, guys, on our checklist that's important, especially if you're new to phone flipping, make sure you guys use a bill of sale. If you guys aren't in my phone flipping course yet, you guys can find a free bill of sale out there online. They're pretty easy. They're not going to be as good as the one that I have in my course because I did pay a lawyer to actually write it up and everything. However, the main thing, guys, is just look for a bill of sale template that, asks for a decent amount of information and try and get the customer's ID. Or write their driver's license number down, just because of the fact that you do want to have some kind of proof in case you were to buy a stolen phone by accident, and you just want to be able to make sure that you did your due diligence by checking out the phone and you did get a signed bill of sale. The IMEI checks are going to be a really good indicator of that also. Even if you guys didn't get an ID, if you guys have proof showing that you ran the IMEI at the time of sale and you have a print off of it when you went to go list it online, that's going to be a really good indicator also, showing that you did try to do your due diligence, and when you purchased the phone was not stolen or blacklisted, and everything seemed to be fine and that you had no idea. So, but it's just something you want to be careful about, because you don't want to have to deal with that. So that being said, guys, I hope this little smartphone checklist for 2019 kind of helps you guys. Whether you're newer or, you've been in the industry for a while, this is just a good refresher if you've been in the industry for a while, because you know what? Sometimes we get confident in our ways, and sometimes, we forget. It doesn't matter how good you are. People make mistakes, so we're all human. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes we can get too confident in what we're doing or get too comfortable because we've done it so many times and we end up missing these steps. And, sometimes we end up missing stuff. I know me personally, sometimes I've gone through a phone really fast, and then when I get back home in my office and I look under it under a close light, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that gouge, or I didn't see that nick, in the corner of the frame of the phone. So it can happen, guys, to anyone, whether you're new or you're experienced. So this is just kind of a good checklist, guys, to, just kind of refer back to it and make sure you guys are checking it out, because it'll help everybody a lot, like I said, whether you're new or old, and make sure that you just never stray too far from the basics, because the basics are what gives everybody a foundation. So I hope everybody got some knowledge and some take back from this information, and I hope it helps you guys. I hope it helps you, solve any problems and some of the questions maybe you've been having about the new IMEI checkers in 2019. And I really, really, really hope that, nobody gets scammed out there, and I hope this list kind of helps people and just prevents people from getting scammed, because that's the worst feeling when you're new to phone flipping and you try and go get a deal and you end up losing, $100 or $200, and that's never fun. That being said, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you guys are looking to take your phone flipping game to the next level, I have a full course that has helped over 100 people succeed and make over $10,000 a month flipping phones and electronics. And I also have a couple students doing $50,000 and one student even doing $100,000 a month after he took my Phone Flipping Academy course. It's a super detailed course. The videos are super in-depth. There's hours upon hours of content in it, and you also get access to my exclusive Mastermind group where I'm actually in there, and you're also surrounded by some of the top phone flipping students in the nation. And then on top of that, we do weekly group chats every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and those are recorded, so if you miss it, you can always watch it again. It's a super good group, guys, just to kind of motivate you, keep your spirits up, keep your phone flipping ideas fresh, and always keep you doing bigger and bigger numbers each month. And it also helps support me doing videos for you guys every single day and dropping knowledge. It is something that I sell. You don't have to buy it, but there is a ton of knowledge in there, and everybody that's bought it has gotten their investment back basically 10 times. I try and be one of the most transparent and personable internet coaches out there. So anyhow, I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I hope it prevents some people from being scammed. And if you're newer out there, make sure you guys check out this video. And if you're a veteran in the phone flipping community, this is kind of a good basis just to check back, just because, we're pro pros doesn't mean we don't ever make mistakes. So that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.